Again, Seti, you got to do your research. We're going to go into this, okay? Because, again, it go back to the Phoenician, okay? But you got to understand who Adonis is and what gives Adonis his significance in ancient Greece. Because we know every ancient Greek god comes from Egypt. And before there was in Egypt, it go all the way back to Babylon. So they got that from Hamitic people. They got that from Cushites and Mizraimites or Ethiopians and Egyptians. And I'm going to prove it. Okay, and number one, in the Paleo Hebrew, is Adawan, okay, which means Lord. Adawan, okay? So like, that's not the proper end. But it's Adawan, okay? It's not damn Adonai. Let me get this though. Get this document for your ass. And I'm going to cite my sources, don't worry. This is from Princeton, by the way, Princeton University. Okay. Adonis is the Greek version of Osiris and Tammuz. Okay? So if Adonis, the Greek god, is a faggot, first off, us calling the Lord Adonai, which really is Adawan, is just a title. It means Lord, okay? But let's entertain what he said was true, that it's really a Greek faggot god that we praise, and then go back to Greece. According to historical fact, Adonis, the god you claim is a faggot, even though in the story of Adonis, he's not a faggot, he actually got 2 bitches. Anyway, the Greek god that you claim is a faggot, right? We is calling our god that god, right? Yet that god is only the Greek version of the Egyptian Osiris and the Babylonian or Cushite Tammuz. So, if the Greek god Adonis is a faggot, and that's who we calling on, then guess what? Your Egyptian god Osiris is a flaming faggot, and your Cushite god Tammuz is a faggot too. Come on, my nigga, you gotta come harder than this. You gotta bring the dagger, Seti. Anyway. And then, yeah, you putting pictures. See, what he does is he's playing the same subliminal mind game that the so-called white man plays. He tells the story of Adam and Eve, or he's telling the story of different biblical characters, and he's putting pictures and images of crackers up there, hypnotizing your subconscious, if you're silly and simple enough, hypnotizing your subconscious for you to even believe that them fuckers is white. Them niggas ain't fucking white, but when he's putting them pictures that the crackers put to subconsciously play a game with your fucking mind, then you gonna believe the shit. And that's what he's doing. See, he take too many pages out the fucking white man book. Yeah, he condemned the white man and say he bang on the beats. Nigga, you taking all the pages out that cracker's book. But anyway, and then he's talking about y'all ain't get your laws until Moses. That ain't true. The laws was already in spoken form. When you go and read Genesis, the laws was already in existence. Okay, with that whole situation with that you touched on with Judah and Tamar, right? You touched on that situation between Judah and Tamar, but that was an example of the law, okay? Because what had to happen was when a man dies, when a man is married to a woman and he dies, and that woman has not had seed to bring forth his line, namely a son, to continue to bring forth his line, what happens is that man's brother has to come in and play husband to that woman in place of his brother to continue his family line. That's in the law of the Bible, okay? Which is a beautiful law, all right? Because we don't want any man in Israel to not bring forth the seed, man, and continue the nation and continue his family name and line. Now, the fact is this. What that is, that happened in Genesis before Moses gave the law. So what does that prove? That the law was in existence and in effect before Moses gave the law. But what happens is it was in the spoken form, like the brother Nasi touched on. The law was in a spoken form. You see what I'm saying? So before Moses actually put it down in writing so we can have it all the way official and have that standard and nobody could argue with it, it was always in spoken form, always around since the time of Adam. All right? And then he want to say that the godship or whatever, the woman is there. But what they're doing is they're taking something that's allegorical. When wisdom is likened unto a woman or likened unto a feminine spirit, why is wisdom likened unto a woman? Let's analyze this. Wisdom is likened unto a woman because a nigga will do anything to get a woman. Niggas do anything for pussy. Niggas chase pussy around in the streets. Niggas, do shit that they wouldn't ever do. Everything from the shape up to the sneakers, as my nigga said. Everything from the shape up to the sneakers, a nigga will do for a bitch. And that's what the Lord is telling us we need to do for wisdom, to seek after knowledge, wisdom, and understanding. That's why it's likened unto a woman. We're supposed to go out of our wits. Well, not so much out of our wits, but go to wits end to obtain this wisdom. You understand what I'm saying? That's why it's effeminate. Not because there's not because God is some type of androgynous being, which you're making him out to be when you went on that little rant. Okay, and then I'm going to get this scripture too, because you was bringing out scriptures and butchering the breakdown. Okay, let's go to Ecclesiastes. It's Ecclesiastes 3:11. He have made everything beautiful in his time. Also, he hath set the world in their heart, so that no man can find out the work that God maketh from beginning to the end. So you said, so what is Genesis and what is Revelations? First off, what that's dealing with is time. This whole, when you read Ecclesiastes 3 contextually, meaning in this context, it's dealing with time. Meaning one cannot wrap their mortal mind around the scope of time that the Lord has created things and is playing out the timeline of the world. You can't wrap your head around the scope of that and the scope of everything and when the Lord is gonna bring this and when the Lord is gonna bring that. You can't tell. You should just like the end time, for example. No man knoweth the end. You can't wrap your head around when the Lord is gonna do that. When it happens, you're gonna be like, okay, it's happening. But we don't know when it's going to happen. You see what I'm saying? We hope it happens soon. According to prophecy, it appears that it's going to happen soon. But the day it's actually going to happen, we don't know. We can't wrap our head around that. And there's a lot of certain concepts that the Most High can get his head around that we can't. Why? Because our thoughts are not his thoughts, as the scriptures say. So there's certain things as human beings we can never fully understand. And that's basically what that's saying and talking about in Ecclesiastes 3:11. Okay, so don't. What is Genesis or what is Revelations? That's bullshit, okay? And again, you keep talking about, like, you keep talking so down on Israel and just bigging up Egypt. Again, nigga, the Bible is the only reason them niggas went into Egypt and excavated that shit. The Bible, they wanted to find certain of the ancient things that were in the biblical text. That's why they went into Egypt and excavated this shit, my nigga. Don't forget that shit. Dr. Ben wouldn't have been able to author this whole belief system that you got if it wasn't for the scriptures and these crackers taking so much interest in the things that were written in the scriptures to go down into Egypt and look on them walls and dig up them pyramids and pull King Tut ass up out that goddamn sarcophagus, man. All right. And then he was talking about we were sleeping under animals. We were sleeping under animals when that's something that's condemned in our culture, nigga. The fuck are you talking about? I want you to prove that the Hebrew Israelites were sleeping under cows and other fucking animals in Egypt. I want you to prove that shit, my nigga. Really. Like, that's horrendous. Y'all, I don't understand who believes the shit that this nigga be talking about. But anyway, this is Job 30:1. But now they that are younger than I, have me in derision. What Job is talking about here is actually the so-called white man. When he said he is younger than I, have me in derision. Why? Because white people as a whole is younger than black people, not in the sense of Jacob and Esau, because Jacob is the younger brother, but in the sense of that the so-called white man is younger on the earth than any person of color. You see what I'm saying? And he says, but they have us in derision, meaning they got us in the state that they have us now. Okay, in derision. Whose fathers, and he's talking about the so-called white man, I would have disdained to have set with the dogs of my flock. So you disdain somebody when you have them sleep with an animal. But so that's according to Hebrew culture. So where do you come off saying that we were sleeping up under animals when that's something that's looked at as a disdain in our culture? You're retarded, my nigga. You like, seriously, you're crazy. Oh, and then he made the statement, oh, the white man touched it. The white man touched the Bible because it say that the Noah landed in Ararat. Well, nigga, you must not be familiar with geography and your ancient African people and your ancient Hamitic people. I want to show you something. Look at this land right here. This is near the land where Mount Ararat is. Let me come in. Where am I at here? You see this here? Let me put it close. You see this here? You see this landmass? This Asia Minor in the ancient times? What was it? Whose land was it? The Hittites. Who were the Hittites? They were Hamites. They were so-called African people. And they were dwelling in this region here. Up here, near Asia Minor or whatnot. And then you had Japhetic people that were surrounding them. But see that right there? Hold on, let me make sure y'all get this. Right here. You see that? The Hittites. But I thought this was the white man land. Nigga, the white man didn't even fucking exist yet. You over here talking about the white man made a land in Ararat. Nigga, the white man didn't exist during the time of Noah. Everybody was of color during that period of time, nigga. See that? The Hittites, Hamites, they were dwelling in that region. Okay? Post-flood, nigga. Get your fucking mind right, dude. Do your research, nigga, for real. All right? Anyway. And then he's talking about, oh, Jerusalem is abundant and y'all was running down to Egypt and y'all got put out the garden. The fact is that after the flood, Jerusalem is the garden, okay, of Eden. Jerusalem is the garden. But after the flood, because Jerusalem wasn't the, well, basically, the Lord took the garden state away from Judah. I mean, not from Judah, but Jerusalem rather, okay? And Africa does got its resources. I'll give you that. So what? What the fuck that mean? Africa got its resources. That's created for us to go to and take their resources. If we feel like it, okay? Because we God's chosen people. Where we at here? Okay. And then he said, if Ramses was the Pharaoh and he washed up in the water, how he get in the tomb? I don't even understand why you ask such retarded questions and act like you're making a point and try to sell it. Just like when you said to Abraham, oh, Abraham, why ain't he Abraham? Again, first off, his name is Abraham. Okay, which is different than Chum, which is the CH, which the brother touched on. And even if his name was Abraham, it still would be different than Chum, you silly nigga. But anyway, you try to sell things, and that's what you did with Ramses. Oh, how did he get in the tomb? First off, nigga, you ever watch the episode of First 48 where something called a floater, where a nigga wash up in the water? Because when you fucking die in the water, your body is going, unless you got fucking cement Jordans on, nigga, your body is going to wash up to the surface. So let's say it was Ramses. Let's say he did get washed up in the water, in the ocean when the Lord caused it to come together. His body floated to the top. You goddamn Egyptians went and picked his body up, mummified his ass, put him in the goddamn sarcophagus, nigga. The fuck? And then this nigga gonna say, he gonna read the verse. This nigga gonna read the verse where it says that Moses married an Ethiopian or a Hamitic woman, but did say she was a Midianite, and then he slaughtered the Midianites. First off, the Lord said, I will avenge Israel of Midian. Midian did some fucked up shit to us. That's why we went and killed their ass off. Not for no reason. Number one. Number two, she was an Ethiopian. That was a Cushite woman that he was with. You dummy. And it says it. But her father was a Cushite, but he was a priest to the Midianites. That's why I said the priest of Midian, Jethro, but he was actually a Cushite. You understand what I'm saying? He was a Hamite, an Ethiopian. So that's who, so Moses married a Hamitic woman. Her father was Hamitic, but he was a priest to Shemitic, basically Arabic people, Midianites. And we slaughtered the Midianites. Why? Because what the Midianites did to us during that time. Read the book of Numbers. It's in there. So don't say, oh, he slaughtered his wife's people. That she's a Hamite, dude. You're stupid. You should have said, oh, she was an Ethiopian. That's what you should have said. You should have came on the angle that she was a Hamite. And you should, why you so mad at the Hamites? Moses married a Hamite. A lot of our foreparents married Hamites. What that mean? So what? We dealing with patriarchs. So that woman, she don't mean nothing. The patriarch decides what the nation of the child that comes out of that womb is, nigga. Remember that. Stop worshiping the pussy all the time. And then you mentioned how Moses and Joseph, Judah and Abraham didn't have Israelite wives. Number one, Joseph, Judah, and Abraham, there was an Israelite woman on the scene during that period of time. So please explain to me how the hell we gonna have an Israelite woman if ain't no Israelite women during that time period. Abraham existed before Israel existed, number one. Number two, Judah and Joseph, we're talking about, these are the first generation of the 12. The only Israelite woman during that period of time is Dinah, our sister. What are we going to do? Fuck our sister? Hell no, we ain't sick. That's some Hamitic ancestral shit like some of your great pharaohs did. But we ain't into that. We ain't into having incest mongoloid babies. We not into that shit, my nigga. All right. So what do? Yeah, we did take the majority of the 12 patriarchs did take Hamitic women. Why? Because they're our neighbors. All right. They're our neighbors. So yeah, we took the Hamitic women. So what? And we created the nation of Israel with the Hamitic women. You see what I'm saying? That's why when you read about the Nephilim, because people take this Nephilim shit and run with it, all it is it says that the children of the Most High lay with the daughters of men. That's the same thing. The men of Israel, the 12 patriarchs, lay with your different Hamitic women and created the nation of Israel. That's true. That happened. So what? Okay. And then Moses left Egypt. What was he going to do? All the Israelites was in Egypt in slavery. So Moses left Egypt. He found a Cushite woman. He married her. It makes total sense. You see what I'm saying? Well, I'm gonna go to the next point. Okay, and then like Seti, you keep bringing up, they slaughtered these Canaanites. These Canaanites were a peaceable people. You keep bringing this up, nigga. You're not peaceable, and that's all. Especially you, of all niggas, talking about the Canaanites were a peaceable people, and you are trying to maintain that you're a Canaanite. Or, not a Canaanite, but a Hamitic person. And you talking about these Hamites were such peaceable people? Well, let's see about that. Where we at here? Because ain't nothing peaceable about you, my nigga. I'm just going to come frank. And I'm going to show you what the Bible say Israel is going to be. And everybody out there could easily see this is describing a nigga like you. Okay? This is Ezra 4:12. Be it known unto the king that the Jews which came up from thee to us are come to build Jerusalem, are come unto Jerusalem, building the rebellious and the bad city, and have set up the walls thereof and joined the foundations. Now, us blacks and Hispanics in America, we're clearly a rebellious and bad people. And Seti, you are evidently a rebellious and a bad person. So what is a better explanation for the blacks and Hispanics? Or let's just deal with the blacks, because you just want to deal with the blacks. So what is a better description of the blacks here in America? Would it be a peaceable people, a quiet and peaceable people, or would it be rebellious and bad people? Just take a look at Seti and his behavior and the way he act, and that's the explanation. So that couldn't be us, because them peaceful people was peaceable and quiet, and we ain't peaceable and quiet.